Hey guys, so what I've done here is I've taken the ZVS driver that I've used in previous videos. I've connected two 4S quadcopter batteries in series, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to see how hot this blade can get with a fresh set of batteries and see how quickly we can get it cherry red from a cold start. Okay, so I'm going to use this timer here and see that this is cool to the touch. 26 degrees Celsius or 78 degrees Fahrenheit. So let's go ahead and cut it on first, start that, then put the blade in. So you see the light, start it. You see there, it's already bright red. And that looks exactly like what I'm seeing. This is not like the camera picking up too much IR or anything like that. It's pretty hot. And steel is a pretty poor conductor of heat, so it's not going to burn my fingers, but it's actually hard to hold this here. So it's cooling down. That's definitely enough heat to solder with. so let's take that. Make a few solder joints there. Yeah, you could use this blade alone to solder with, but you could use this for heat treating blades and other stuff like that. Kind of hard to get a temperature reading on it while it's still in there. It'll burn my fingers. So say it's definitely over 300, but let's get too hot. Even the handle's starting to get red there, and see, you saw that spark to the coil shorted, but it's not really that big of a deal. But yeah, I can't really hold on to this anymore, so put that down. Yeah, so you can see that this little unit heated this blade to cherry red in about 7 seconds, which is crazy. So you want to use these checkers to make sure that you don't over drain the batteries. So you just put it on and it gives you the total cell. So 15.5, they're still pretty good. 3.87, you don't want this to drop below 3.3. And this will actually alert at 3.3. So when I build the unit, it'll just alarm when I need to swap the batteries out. People don't realize how powerful these little quadcopter batteries are, and a lot of people don't know what 4S means, what these C ratings mean. So 4S just means 4 cell. This is a 4S battery, and you see that it has 35C discharge, 70C burst. So we have the milliamp hour, the capacity here in milliamp hours, so we're just going to convert that to amp hours. So 1300 milliamp hours is 1.3 amp hours. And you multiply that by the C rating. The burst is the max current burst, and then the continuous discharge is just usually listed on the front of the batteries. So these batteries I'm using are rated for 45 amps continuous and 91 amps peak. And so if we do the math here, fully charged about 4.2 volts per cell times 4 cells gives us 16.8 volts. 16.8 volts times 91 amps gives us 1,528.8 watts. Using two of these batteries in series like I have in this video gives us 33.6 volts times 91 amps, which gives us 3,057.6 watts. That's 3 kilowatts of power in two of these little batteries. Now they're not meant for being used for long periods of time, but for quickly heating up a blade or loosening a nut in the field, if you look up bolt buster, and you'll see it's a little portable induction heater, and it's used to loosen up like seized bolts. So what it does is just when you heat up the nut, it becomes cherry red, and it expands and contracts, which ends up loosening up the nut, and you could take it off. You could also use this as a portable soldering iron. So if you just had like a tip that you made, heat it up with this, and you solder one joint at a time, going back and forth between heating the tip up. You could use them for cooking, but they're not quite as cheap and efficient as just regular old propane would be. But for other purposes, I think there's a lot of useful applications. So I plan on putting this into a small box and having like a wand attachment, so you could use this as a portable induction heater with, you know, an attachment for maybe knives, and then an attachment like a flat coil for like cooking and other applications. But no need to wait for me to finish, because it's extremely simple. You know, you just get your ZVS driver and you get yourself 2 high quality 4S batteries. And the reason I'm using 4S is that if you only wanted to use one of these, you could, because even when the cells are low, it's still going to be higher than the 12 volts needed to power this driver. So I've seen a lot of people complain that their ZVS drivers have, you know, exploded on them or failed, but that's usually because of a poor quality power supply. I found these drivers to be extremely reliable. In fact, I had one running 24/7 for over a month and nothing was wrong. The capacitors get hot, but as long as you give it some kind of cooling, you're not really going to run into any problems. The problem comes when you have a cheap power supply that when you cut the power on, it doesn't give the voltage to this circuit quick enough, and it causes both of these to conduct. When that happens, it's just like a dead short. One way around that is if you want to use a cheap power supply, you can have 2 switches. One switches on the power supply, and the second switch actually connects your power supply to the circuit. That way, the circuit will get immediately the voltage it needs. As long as it's over 12 volts, you're good. I recommend at least 24 volts or higher. But if you have a 24 volt supply and it's not capable of pumping out well over 5 amps, then you're not really going to get the benefit. So you might as well just use a 12 volt 10 amp supply or something like that. But I'm just going to use these batteries, and what's cool is I can have a couple of these in my backpack. If I needed to take this out, we could take it camping. To charge these batteries, you want to use a high power battery charger that is specifically meant for these type of batteries. So we have 4 cell, 3 cell, 2 cell, accepts different cells as well as different types of batteries. So nickel cadmium, lithium ion, lithium polymer, and the higher power charger you use, the quicker your batteries will charge up. So if you have a lot of batteries to charge up, it makes a huge difference. So okay guys, well I hope you liked the video, and if you did like it, please physically click that like button, and if you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing to my channel, and I'll see you later.